Dear Ambassador, it's a huge honor to have you as a guest for a second time, I have to say, and you are always our important guest when you are in Tuzla. The Embassy of Sweden is a partner of this year's Tekate Fest. So can you tell me a little bit of more of why you decided as an embassy to be a partner of this amazing and very important project and festival?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me again on your show. I'm also very happy to be here again. No, we wanted to support the festival, and when we were asked if we wanted to support this group, theater group from Croatia, playing a Swedish play of one of the most famous Swedish playwriters. Of course, that was a given that we should. Culture is something that we can share over time, over country boundaries. So we were happy to see that a Swedish play was appreciated and played by people in the region. So,
absolutely. In a period that we currently live, the political situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina is not quite good for the citizens. People here are very frightened. Peace and reconciliation were supposed to be two key things adopted during the time after the war, but still we have the situation that we have right now. But something that is very important for me to mention is that Sweden is engaged to cooperate on peace and reconciliation projects. So one such example came from Maglaj. Why was it important for you as an ambassador and also for the embassy itself to support such amazing project?
It was important to us because, as you say, the situation in the country is such that people really need to hear the messages that these three war veterans are telling. They really speak from their own experience, they know what they are talking about, and I have to say the first time I saw the documentary about them and also met them, seeing them engaging with the audience and answer questions, it really made a huge impression on me, and this was more than a year ago. And I think today their message is more needed than in a very long time. So this is why we're happy for them to be able to reach out to people and tell their story about how they lived together in the same city, the city of Maglaj, how they were dragged into the war, ended up fighting each other, and then really their message is don't let yourself be manipulated, don't be dragged into these kind of situations, because there are no winners in a war, and that's very powerful to hear from them. And they met again after the war and decided to work together for reconciliation and good in society.
That was the story that really brought the tears into our eyes, and it is such an important story for everyone here in this situation that we are living. But how important is for you to focus on creating the space for young people, the safe space where they can talk about peace and reconciliation?
I think this is enormously important because that's where we have to start. We have to talk to each other, we have to sit down and try to understand different points of view. So I think this is crucial to create a space for young people. I've met many young people over these last 2 years in this country that have told me that they went through school without meeting any other children from other ethnicities. And I think this is why it's so important to, at least outside school, get the opportunity to meet other children and see that most of the time we have more similarities than things that set us apart. So it's important to have this possibility to also face some of your fears, perhaps, and your misperceptions.
Absolutely. Sweden is known as the one of the countries who provides the greatest support to the work of UN Women on a global level. As an example of the contribution in creating the change, Sweden pursues the feminist foreign policies. Can you tell me more about this project? Mm-hmm. Also a very important one.
No, so the feminist foreign policy of the Swedish government was actually initially created by a former foreign minister, Margot Wallström, in 2014. And the name was deliberately picked because it's it creates a lot of reactions because obviously feminism is much more provocative than gender equality. So that was the idea, to spark a debate. And in the beginning, the reactions were a bit mixed, but then now I would say that it's mostly met with appreciation, and many other countries have actually followed in our footsteps and also adopted their own feminist foreign policy. And it's really about making sure that women and men have the same rights, resources, and representation everywhere in the world. We know this is not the situation. So it's basically about fundamental human rights, and to make sure that women who are living under difficult circumstances all over the world really gets the kind of support that they have the right to get from the institutions and governments and society as a whole.
Absolutely. We have a little time, so I'm like jumping from the topic to the topic, but something that I think all the people in Bosnia-Herzegovina know Sweden Embassy and you as an ambassador is your engagement in environmental issues. So one of the burning problems in Bosnia-Herzegovina that has not been solved for years is the problem of air pollution, which is why our cities are usually on the top of the lists for being the most polluted in the world. Almost every day. Sweden is working together with partners and the relevant institutions to combat pollution and protect human health. So how do you work right now in this field, and how can we as the citizens get involved together to make progress on this field?
So we work at many different levels and all over the country, all over Bosnia and Herzegovina. We work both on a legislative level. We are supporting work to create also a countrywide environmental strategy and action plans, and there, of course, air pollution is an important part. We're also working with the relevant institutions to provide them equipment, but also expertise to be able to measure and analyze air pollution, and also to provide this data to a common database in the EU, to also share this knowledge amongst ourselves within Europe. But we're also working very concretely. I mean, both with civil society organizations to raise awareness and to build things with them, but also with institutions to, for example, make public buildings energy efficient. And this is, I really like these projects because they have so many different components. I mean, they make public buildings energy efficient, which means that the emissions are reduced, so the air pollutions are reduced. But they also save money to the public budget, but they also create new green jobs. So this is fantastic. And this year we have actually expanded this project that is called Green Economic Development to also include the private sector. So far in the Sarajevo canton, which means that people can get subsidies. We finance it 50-50 with the Sarajevo canton, and it means that the people who cannot themselves afford to change their old polluting furnaces and stoves can get a subsidy, so they can get modern, environmentally friendly ones. And this is very, very important because actually private citizens and private households, the heating during winter is one of the big reasons for the air pollution. But of course, there's so many things that people can do also in their daily lives. I mean, the most obvious is, of course, to walk or take the bus, or if you have a bicycle instead of taking your car, especially if it's old and polluting. But also many, many other things that you can do is that contributes to reducing the air pollution, putting filters in, you know, when you have a fire, that you're heating up with wood. I mean, there's so many small things you can do, and then on a bigger scale, of course, you know, not to use plastic and all these things that most people are aware of. But there are many things we can all do.
Yeah, sometimes those small steps are actually the biggest one and the most important. One crucial project implemented by Sweden's partner Mine Action Group together with the embassy on the territory of Bosnia and Herzegovina is the mining operation, where MAG destroyed more than 2,300 explosive devices and returned 5.8 1.8 million square meters of cleared land to the citizens of this country since 2018, I think. How demanding was this project, and how proud are you knowing the fact that you brought this land back to citizens of Bosnia and Herzegovina?
No, of course we are proud, but especially I'm an admirer of the people who are doing the demining, because this is clearly including risks, and they're all taking these risks on everybody else's behalf. So this is obvious to us to be able to support. It's very important, not only for people living here, for their daily lives, to feel safe, but it will also be important for economy, to be able to increase ecotourism, to be able to attract people also from other countries coming here, and that will help the whole economy growing. So there are so many different reasons, but I mean, obviously every person that is not affected by a mine that we can contribute to is of course in itself the most important.
And once again, we are very grateful because of your consistency in giving us this opportunity to have a clear land. And for the end, what are the plans of your embassy until the end of this year, maybe in a months on the beginning of 2022? Can you share a little bit more with us?
There's so many things happening all of the time, but we're still the chair of the OSCE until the end of this year. So we will do some work together with the OSCE mission related to anti-corruption, because this is an important area. Of course, we will continue with the Maglai project, making sure that as many people both in this country but out also abroad gets to hear the important messages and discuss with the 3 war veterans from Maglai. Air pollution, of course, this is the season, will be on our agenda. And we also just recently, the Swedish government adopted a new 7-year strategy for development cooperation for the whole region, and which means that we're now in an intense phase in the embassy operationalizing this strategy. So those are some of the things that we will be working on.
We are very happy about everything that you will be doing in the next months, and also once again we are very happy to have you always here in Tuzla as a guest, and we are grateful that you the Embassy of Sweden is actually sharing all the things on social media with us, so we have this perception that we are always included. So thank you once again.